So let's have a look what's been going on around the homestead. We have like heaps of tomatoes starting to go red, and as you can see I've got the camera the right way round. I really love this one. It's Sunshine 100 and it is just absolutely smothered in beautiful cherry tomatoes, and they go yellow, they're yellow ones, and they are so sweet. They're low in acid, and so you don't get heartburn. Just been and picked some off. But yeah, where is the camera? Beautiful little cherry tomatoes, bite-sized, yummy. So today's job, I have tidied out these beds. The baths were getting a little bit overwhelmed with things, and I planted lots of brassicas in here, and as you can see some of them are not overly healthy, but I watched a guy on YouTube talking about they didn't give brassicas, generally they say like 1.5 foot square for brassicas to spread out, and he was suggesting you planted them closer and then it would give smaller heads. I think I went a bit over the top with my closer, and what happened was they all just grew up. Like this guy here just grew up because they were just trying to find their space. So we've had a little bit of an infestation with cabbage white at the moment, so most of the caterpillars I've pulled off, or they actually drowned. So I think we're good at the moment, but there is still lots of cabbage white butterflies flying around looking for places to lay their eggs. So that is a challenge this time of year for brassicas. And again, I think I just put growing in the wrong seasons. Probably growing in summer in New Zealand is not the best for this type of plant. And growing lots of cabbage. We don't actually like cabbage, so again this bed I've thinned it out hugely and topped it all up with some more compost topsoil, and filled up probably it's about a wheelbarrow full of extra soil that's gone in to these two beds, and there's a bit gone in there and one behind me. So I've just left some of the ones that look a little bit more happy in here, and we'll harvest some of this red cabbage. Not that we eat a lot of cabbage. One of the things I said when I started my gardening, I was going to grow things that we like to eat, and then I grew a whole heap of red cabbage. As you can see, we've got red cabbage everywhere, and we don't actually eat a lot of cabbage, so that kind of went out of the window. But I think I'm going to look for another method for growing my brassicas. One thing that's been good in having them in the baths and off the ground, like the baths are at waist height for me, and I'm 5 foot, so they're probably about 3 foot high, is that we haven't had the slug infestation that I had when I had them on a smaller bed. But this bath space, I think, is quite a lot of growing room needed for these brassicas, more than I've given them. So I got to rethink where I put the next lot and get ready for the winter crops of the ones I like broccoli and cauliflower. It's pretty much the ones that we want to eat. Got a cauliflower here, and as you can see, it's just not happy. Those are flowers, and they're probably going to get far too big. And lo and behold, some more red cabbage. And I also, in these beds last year, I had my onions, red and white, and my leeks, and they grew really well. So perhaps, I don't know, and the carrots did actually reasonably well in here too at the end of the day. I didn't think they were at the time, but at the end of the day, they actually did reasonably well. So I've just planted some more lettuce, pick as you go. It's just the lettuce that we kind of like to eat. And all my lettuce bolted because that all came too quick. So we've got loads of tomatoes to eat, but no lettuce for your lettuce and tomato sandwich. And as you can see, my collies that are coming through are, where's the camera? Not overly happy with their growing space right now. So we've got a few coming. So maybe with a new bit more feed in the compost I've just put in, and a bit more space, they might start to blossom. So that's what I've been doing this afternoon. I had some peas and green beans, dwarf beans, in these beds as well. I've pulled out the peas. I've just left these beans. Their leaves are not wonderfully healthy. I might put some seaweed fertilizer on them, and even a few of them got nibbled by the slugs. So we'll just see how this grows. now that I've given them all some more soil, some more fertilizer. I haven't really done this one much because I had onions planted in among, so it's a bit tricky to put some more soil in for these onions. But I did top this bed up not too long ago before these guys got in. Doing a no-dig kind of system, so like I chop off the things that I've taken out, so you can see I've taken out 3 brassicas. My hens have got a real feed of greens today, and I will leave the root system in there, and the idea behind all that is that that will decompose and just put more goodness back into the soil instead of throwing it out. So you can see that I've taken out other ones in these beds as well. These ones I've already covered up those roots, and we will see if we get some Savoy cabbage that we can eat rather than the caterpillars. I've got to attend to this area here. We'll just skip past there because it's kind of embarrassing, and all this needs some attention as well. So I'll just talk over what we've got going on around here. So I pulled most of my beetroots out, and I've just planted another 6 little, just went to the garden centre and bought some. I do start it myself, but yeah, I've actually just bought 6 already started beetroots to replace the ones I've pulled out, and I pulled out a few carrots that were in there as well. Some of these rainbow beets, they're just not, they've not really done well, so I probably won't bother growing them again, but I'll leave those beets in. They might all get a little bit bigger. As you can see, we've got some tomatoes going crazy over there. The dwarf beans, I really like them. I think they're a tasty bean, and they just do really well, and they seem to be quite happy. I've still got heaps of slugs in there, so I think that's an ongoing battle. And as you can see, some of the lettuce bolted, and I haven't bothered to pull it out. It's supporting the tomato plant. Now in here, I think I told you last time that I pulled the potatoes and the flowers that were in this bed, and last winter this was where I had the brassicas, but the slugs were just all over them. So slugs don't seem to like tomatoes. They don't seem to bother tomatoes so well. So this bed's going to fill up with those tomatoes. I had so many plants that I grew up from seeds, and these that are in here are my Roma tomatoes, which I want for my bottling and sauce making going forward. So hopefully we will see some of these growing and giving me Roma. I've got a whole new lot of onions, red, yellow, red, leeks and spring onions in there. I've got to decide where they're going, so they're just sitting there at the moment. I nearly lost my leeks. They've all just recovered again. They just about forgot about them and left them, didn't get watered, so that's why I've put them there, so that I won't forget about them. And I've got quite a lot of heritage, I'll show you these guys here, heritage tomatoes, and I think I told you about the sunset ones. Those are really yummy. But I've got like these black Krim heirloom tomatoes, and they've just a couple I've just pulled off. Oops, get my finger out of the way. That I've just pulled off. So I'm not sure whether I'll do these again. Just my family is a bit weird. If the tomato's not red and round, they kind of look at me a bit weird. I can't even get them to eat these delicious ones. So the beans, the dwarf beans that I showed you over there, not happy in the pot, so they've really struggled. Although we have got a few beans, looking at that, we've got a few coming in there that I could harvest, but certainly haven't done as well as their friends over there. Same with the carrots in the pots here. They've taken ages, and they're not terribly happy. So I haven't so far done a really good successful pea crop. And we've got some bees over there enjoying that flower. We'll come another day, we'll talk about that. This one is going ballistic. This one is going ballistic. So I will show you today's harvest. And that's where we go. So today's harvest, we've got some beetroots that I pulled out and some carrots that I pulled out, and a few last onions, and underneath that lot, so I pulled out a few last onions, a couple of cabbages, and a whole heap of tomatoes came out. So the beans. Emily got another courgette. Well, these are the black cream tomatoes. I decided to pull them off because they can finish ripening inside. They don't really go black, but that's what they are. And Emily's tiny courgettes that she really likes, and one that's a bit bigger, and lots of other tomatoes, my Roma tomatoes. So with the tomatoes, I'm pulling them off probably a little bit underripe rather, and letting them ripen in the house, just because some of them is, if they're starting to blemish out there, I can look after them in the house. We've got a few malformed things, looks like a little guy, a man with a big nose. So yeah, let's see. So that is where the garden's at the moment. I got an interesting carrot. I did plant some rainbow carrots. Where's it gone? I planted some rainbow carrots. Maybe it's in this pile here. And I didn't think they'd actually grown. It's disappeared now. It's around here somewhere. And then I pulled one up just now, and I thought, oh, look at you. Oh, here it is. So I had a whole heap of different coloured carrots, and this guy just got pulled up with everybody else. So yeah, that's the update of what we've got off the garden so far. Catch you later.